Mrs May's back. Yes, the Renegade is back in this absolutely belting story. And we know it's going to be a classic where Mrs May is laying down the law on the front page. But straight away I've got to read this one because I want to know what Don't Be Silly is in response to. Is she using it to control the behaviour? Or have the kids asked, have you finished marking our books? And she's just like, don't be silly. Have you finished doing the tracking? No, don't be silly. Because we know she's an absolute renegade. So let's see how she gets on. So the story starts in the playground. And this absolute joker, Nadeem, has decided to bring a toy in from home. He knows the rules with this one. It's not even show and tell day. And he'd bought it on holiday. So he's taken time off school to go on holiday and then brought back this snake. Mrs May is not going to be happy. And so here she is. She's been on some new training where she's learnt a few structures. One of them being that she no longer has to do the clap. She can just hold a hand out like that and all the children should give her their attention straight away. But she's been there for 5 minutes now and she's just thinking, flip it, can I not just go back to the clap here? That used to work. No, got to put my hand up. That arm is aching. But the class are plotting to play a trick on Mrs May. So she finally gets the children inside and Nina is saying, I can see a snake on the playground. To which Mrs May thinks, actually, yeah, there is a snake in the playground. So she gives Nina a plastic bag and says, go and put the snake in the bag. Oh, Mrs May, you knew it was a plastic snake, said Biff. No, she didn't. She thought it was real, but there's no way she's putting herself at risk. She's using those children as a human shield. Go on, you absolute legend. And this is absolutely brilliant. Now for my snake, said Mrs May. What snake is that, said Biff. The adder, said Mrs May. You can all do addition sums. Everyone was doing addition sums. The sums were hard. Of course they were. Because you do not mess about with Mrs May. Then Wilf looked outside. Look, he yelled. There's a donkey in the playground. Oh, looks like they've had the Ofsted call. Here's an inspector just doing the rounds. Or the government representatives for education. We all know they can be asses. And Mrs May is not happy. Is it made of plastic too? She thinks they're all being smart asses. But she looks out the window and she sees the donkey. Someone will have to catch it. We don't want this inspection. Mrs May can catch it with a plastic bag, says Nadeem. Mrs May was cross. Don't be silly, Nadeem. You know what happened with the snake prank. I will make you pay, Nadeem. And look at him. He thinks he's hilarious. Mrs May will sort that out. Should we phone Animal Rescue? Or should we phone the unions? That's a good idea, Biff, said Mrs May. Sit quietly while I go to the phone. There you go, just left to sit quietly doing nothing. She's off down the corridor on the phone now. But at playtime, the children talked about the donkey. It was easy to catch. The unions have clearly come in and told the inspectors to do one. And as they're talking about it, Nadeem, we didn't do any more work. Well, it's time to work now, said Mrs May. Come back in the classroom. You can learn to spell something. Spell what, Mrs May? Donkey. It's not even a word on the Key Stage 2 spelling list. But she's going to make them pay. Everyone was doing the spellings. Wilf looked into the playground. Look, he yelled. I tell you what, Mrs May's going to have to keep a close eye on Wilf here. Every time she sets them a task, he's away with the fairies looking out the window. And can you believe it? A goose is on the playground now. Mrs May looked cross. I'd say she'd be absolutely fuming. Hands on hips. But I have to say, Mrs May, you are rocking that yellow combo again. Go on, girl. You can't kid a kidder. But Mrs May looks outside. Oh, my goodness. But it may not be a goose. It may be a gander. And she's having a think now what to do. And she's going to have to take matters into her own hands. So she goes back to the tried and trusted method of the clap. She is clapping that goose away. The gander looked at Mrs May. Then it began to chase her. The gander pecked Mrs May on the bottom, yelled Biff. Injury lawyers for you, Mrs May. Where there's a blame, there is a claim. Forget this teaching lark. With an injury like that, he could be in the Bahamas in 2 weeks. And eventually Mrs May comes back into the classroom. Are you all right, Mrs May? Asked Nina. Yes, thank you, but she is puffing. She is struggling big time. Get the inhaler out. And Nadeem, the absolute class clown, decides, I've got a joke. What fruit do ganders like? We don't know, said Chip. Gooseberries, laughed Nadeem. Mrs May's just fed up. She's waiting for the bell to go. She needs a Prosecco. But the other children, they know Nadine, will you keep quiet? We've already had to do loads of addition and spelling today because of you. And there we go, another adventure with our hero, Mrs May. Tough day, tough one, that one for her. But as always, you can like and share this video. There'll be another one coming soon. Make sure you're following on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. And I'll see you again soon. Cheers.